Yeah, here we will continue the discussion on solar pond. Yesterday we have seen the different types of solar ponds, convecting and non-convecting. In non-convecting type, a salt will be dissolved in water, known as salt gradient solar pond, which is most common. So, a salt gradient solar pond is a large, shallow water reservoir of depth 1 to 2 meters. Similar to non-convecting ponds, the base of the pond is painted with black. Salts like sodium or magnesium chloride are dissolved in water to get a salinity gradient to prevent convection currents. The concentration of the salt obviously will be more at the bottom when compared to the top. So a solar pond, this important feature, can store solar heat much more efficiently than a body of water. The usual pond is simply a pond containing water cannot store energy for a longer period. For a period of time, the top layer of water will be hot and the bottom always will be cold, as you have experienced, right? But a solar pond can store solar heat much more efficiently than a body of water of the same size because of this property, salinity gradient. We are dissolving salt into it, which prevents the convection losses from bottom to top. So here you can see there are three different layers. Very thin top layer, thick middle layer, and another bottom layer. In the middle layer is having the salinity gradient, increasing salinity. The salt concentration is increasing from top to bottom. In the top and bottom layers there will be constant salinity. But in the middle layer there is a gradient exists in the salt concentration which prevents the convection currents from bottom to top. Here you can see a more clear picture. Solar energy is falling on the top layer. The water gets heated up. The thermal energy will be transmitted here. Since there is a black lining at the bottom, it will absorb the solar energy and the water will get heated up, right? But since there is salinity gradient here in the middle layer, there won't be any convection currents. This arrow clockwise and anti-clockwise represents these arrows represents the convection currents. The convection currents will stay in that layer alone. It will not transmit from bottom layer to top layer through this salinity gradient. That is not possible because of the salinity gradient. The hot water cannot escape out from the bottom layer to top layer. So these are the different zones: surface zone, insulation zone, and storage zone. The middle layer, since there is increasing salinity from top to bottom, is acting as a insulation zone. So these are the three layers and other names: upper convective zone, lower convective zone, and middle non-convective zone or salt gradient zone. So this is the principle of operation or the difference of a salt gradient solar pond from a regular pond. In usual ponds, as the water gets heated up, it rises to the surface and loses its heat by convection to the atmosphere, and it remains at equilibrium temperature with the atmospheric temperature. So the water top layer of water in a usual pond attains thermal equilibrium for the same temperature with that of the atmosphere, and it cannot store any thermal energy received from the solar radiation. But a solar pond restricts this tendency by dissolving salt in the bottom layer of the pond, making it too heavy to rise. When you dissolve salt, what will happen? The density of water increases. Denser water will always lie on the bottom layer. It cannot move up. So let us see the working. As we have seen, solar radiation passes through the upper layer to the bottom. Middle layer provides thermal insulation. Convection of water is prevented by this thermal insulation or salt gradient layer. The heat from the sun's rays, solar rays, absorbed at the bottom of the pond is retained in the lower depths. Now the thermal energy or heat from the bottom layer is exchanged with the working fluid in the heat exchanger. After transferring the heat, the cold water is returned to the pond. So the bottom layer will be having hot water, and that will be transferred to the storage tank or the application user interface, and after transferring that heat in a heat exchanger, the cold water will be returned to the bottom layer again. So solar pond, in short, acts like a large thermal collector, similar to a flat plate collector with a large surface area. The important thing is it is having very large surface area, so the absorbed energy also will be pretty high. At the same time, it acts as a thermal reservoir also. Collection as well as storage, both things are combined. You can see here three different layers, and from the bottom layer the thermal energy is given to a heat exchanger, which will be transmitted to an organic working fluid, which is used to generate steam, and it can run a turbine and generate electricity. And after using the thermal energy in the turbine, it will be going back to the condenser, where it is used to, it will get condensed back to the heat exchanger again, and a condenser is used here. So the cold water will be given to, from the top layer will be given to condense the used vapor of the organic working fluid in the condenser, and a little hot water will be given back to the top layer. So these are the n number of applications of a solar pond. It is used for salt production in general, aquaculture, dairy industry, fruit and vegetable, canning, drying, grain industry, and for obviously for water supply, for desalination. So in active solar stills, you can use solar ponds also for hot water supply. So there are a number of operational plants in and around Dead Sea in Israel. But obviously, as pointed out earlier, also solar thermal systems are poor in efficiency. In India also, there is a solar pond operational plant in Bhuj, constructed by TERI. This is a El Paso solar pond in Texas. Different view. So in the coming class, we will be discussing about solar thermal power generation, how to generate power using solar thermal energy. With that, we will write up the applications of solar thermal energy. Then we will move on to solar photovoltaic direct energy conversion. With that class, we will be closing the second module. So at the end of second module, please don't forget, we will be having another assessment. Online assessment will be there. Please be prepared for that. So probably before photovoltaics, I may conduct an assessment. Then photovoltaic alone, we will conduct another test.